It was early on Monday morning at a business summit that the President of the European Commission announced a new partnership with Latin America and the Caribbean valued at 45 billion euros. It includes funding for Guyana in 4 particular areas. One of them is forestry, and President Irfan Ali spoke about that initiative after he met the President of the European Commission in the afternoon.
It was an extremely important meeting. As of course, you know, the EU is playing a more and more important role in Guyana. We have a lot of meetings recently with high-level delegations from the EU, including the Vice President. So there are areas of cooperation that we're discussing outside of our bilateral and existing bilateral portfolio, which include, as I said, a 5-year plan of investment, especially on environment and climate. We're able to discuss priority areas in terms of food security, the forest, positioning Guyana forests, looking at ways in which we can get our carbon into the EU market, partnering with the EU at a side event, a dedicated side event on forests at COP28, and also looking at common issues. Of course, the issue of ease of access to visa was also discussed, private sector investment from the EU in Guyana, the opportunities in the energy sector, the focus on green infrastructure, and of course the transfer of technology and the opening up of opportunity in Guyana for private capital. These are the core issues that was discussed, and I'm very confident that in many of these areas we will see great movement.
President Irfan Ali, who you can see arriving here and greeting fellow heads of state, is in Brussels for the EU CELAC summit. And then came the announcement of the investment projects the EU will have with Latin America and the Caribbean. 130 projects in all, part of the EU's Global Gateway investment agenda, centered on a green, digital and fair transition to strengthen Latin America and the Caribbean's unique potential on biodiversity, natural resources, renewable energy, green hydrogen, agricultural production, and strategic critical raw materials, with key challenges being the digital divide and social cohesion.
Europe aspires to be the partner of choice to Latin America and the Caribbean, just like we choose to be a partner to the region. We believe that Europe's offer to the region is different and significant. We have the mutual interest in seeing Latin America, the Caribbean and Europe unleash the full potential. We share the common interest in seeing both our industries grow, local value chains develop, and more people rise into the middle class. We do not just want to trade together, but we want to thrive together. And for all these reasons, we have decided to step up our cooperation. So today, I am glad to launch our investment agenda for Latin America and the Caribbean. We call it Global Gateway. Under the banner of Global Gateway, we propose to bring over 45 billion euros of high-quality European investment to Latin America and the Caribbean.
So apart from forestry, what else is on the agenda for Guyana? Well, there is funding for the manufacturing of vaccines, pharmaceuticals, and medical equipment in the Caribbean. You may have known from before that Guyana, Barbados, and Rwanda have been talking about the production of vaccines in the Caribbean. That discussion started when President Ali met the Rwandan president in Rwanda last year. And since then, there have been ongoing talks. When President Kagame of Rwanda was in Trinidad recently, he said that progress has been made and that the next step is to decide on a definite procurement mechanism. Now, what else is in this new EU partnership for Guyana? There's talk of upgrading water treatment facilities in Guyana, providing clean, affordable and stable water supply for communities in and around Georgetown. The other project is expanding off-grid solar panels for the hinterland, expanding the country's energy mix and transition away from fossil fuels. And then there's the implementation of the Forest Partnership and Voluntary Partnership Agreement, with a focus on value added in timber products and sustainable forest management. In 2022, Guyana became the first country to sign both the VPA FLEC to ensure forestry operations are legal and a forest partnership agreement with the EU. The forest partnership is valued at 1.2 billion Guyana dollars. The EU ambassador in Georgetown recently said this partnership will allow the EU to mobilize its full set of tools and instruments to ensure sustainability of the forest in a social, economic, financial, and environmental way. During a visit in March, the Deputy Secretary General of the European Commission formally launched the partnership designed to improve forest governance and ensure forest conservation. Now, as you may know, Guyana's total land area is about 21 million hectares, and 85% of that is forested. And over the years, Guyana has had relatively low deforestation, just 1% in the last 4 decades or so. And that is why Guyana has been arguing that it needs to be paid for not cutting down the trees. President Ali has said Guyana's forest is not just standing trees, but an important asset that provides global services. And in the provision of this global service, it is only fair that the forest earns for the country and its people. Now, at the EU CELAC summit, President Ali is expected to talk up Guyana as a leader in Latin America and the Caribbean in 3 particular areas which he has been plugging through in recent times, namely food security, energy security, and climate security. And he's expected to address those issues on Tuesday. For the newsroom, I'm Neil Marks in Brussels.